ចឹងសូមស្វាគមន៍មកកាន់ SparkMeet លើកទី 5 ថ្ងៃនេះកម្មវិធីរបស់យើងមានភ្ញៀវអន្តរជាតិមកចូលរួមផងដែរហើយនេះខ្ញុំសូមដំណើរការកម្មវិធីនេះជាភាសាអង់គ្លេស Welcome to the 5th SparkMeet event. The topic for our meetup event today is on lessons from sports, leadership, teamwork, and personal development. Leadership, teamwork, and personal development skills are important to build and scale startups. Our event today has 3 agendas: 1 presentation on the topic, 2 Q&A, and 3 networking. Our guest speaker is Michael Tuon, founder at Upwork, who share his knowledge on this topic. In order for us to not wait any longer, I would like to invite Mr. Michael Tuon to share on this topic. Thanks.
We good to go? Okay, cool. Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Tuon. I'm Khmer American. Today, I'm so excited to be here with the Startup Center, talking about lessons from sports and showcasing Upwork today. So welcome, everyone. So let's start off with a little game. It's kind of showcasing what are we looking at today? So our presentation today is going to go over several things, primarily who I am, what sports and startups have in common, going through exactly how to develop vision, teamwork, communication through sports, and what is Upward itself and how does that benefit society and the community around us, and then what our next steps are going in the future and how you guys can be a part of our community and our society there. So my name is Mike Tuon. My name is Riti. I am the founder of Upward. I went to the University of Washington in Seattle in the United States. I am a Team USA Gold certified basketball coach. And we're doing a lot of work out here in Cambodia, and a lot of young basketball players and young athletes are coming up through the ranks. And so I'm very much Khmer, but I'm also very much American as well. So I want to start off with a quick game here. And I'll give you guys about 2 minutes to decide. It's where's my family from in Khmer. So you guys can get a little moment here. So it's A, Phnom Penh, B, Siem Reap, C, Kampong Cham, or D, Battambang. I don't have your normal accent for each place, so you guys will have to guess a little bit. I'll give you guys about 30 seconds or so. Okay, so I do live in Phnom Penh, but my family is actually from Siem Reap. And this is where my parents were born. And my grandma still lives there as well. So I feel it's a very strong connection, especially for all you guys that recently went to Khmer New Year's over there in Siem Reap. Thank you for visiting my hometown. Okay, let's get it started. So sports and startups. How are they similar? There's so many things that come together because business at most companies are emphatically not just like sports. They're extremely different, and most employees will roll their eyes. They're like, well, sports and startups and companies, they don't really make sense. How does that help me? But when you think about it, you guys are playing a game. And in this case, you're playing a game with your product and you are aiming to win. Right? There's just no score. Well, there is a score, and we'll teach you how to keep track of that score. So the disconnect really is that what it is the typical company focus on its employees normally as a startup, because the startup community and startups are so small. And so the players that you have in play are so integral to how your company operates. Right? And what that means is you guys have to figure out a simple vision to walk together. And in this case, it's not going to be a win, but it's going to be a victory within your own businesses. Within my business, we want to acquire users. We want to acquire more athletes and more people to come and use our platform. And so that's really how they compare for things like basketball. Without a simple vision, it's like playing without the score. You don't really know if you're succeeding or if you're just falling behind. right? So there's similar shared experiences. There's wins, there's losses, there's a lot of emotions that happen when you're running a company, especially when it's a brand new company and you have all these competitors with more funding and more people and more expertise or more experience in general. And so how do you really find yourself in that space? And how do you define yourself? And how do you define your successes in that space as well? Right? So the similarities are there. And this is a picture of one of our first cohorts of athletes that came in. And these are kids from all over the world, but they're here in SparkMeet learning a similar language, right? And that's the same thing that we do here in the startup community. For all you guys that have businesses or are working within startups, it is very relatable that somebody in Portugal or somebody in Canada could be utilizing the same technology, speaking the similar technical language as you, or trying to achieve the same things as you through different methodologies. And so one of those things was for us is basketball and sports. And so all these kids come from all their different backgrounds from the United States, from Canada, from SparkMeet, from France, from Spain. All these kids come together and they're able to speak the language of basketball, right? And so it is trying to find that common ground so that more people utilize your technology and try to learn more about your company. Because I do believe that here in Cambodia and in SparkMeet, that there's a lot of amazing ideas and there's a lot of amazing entrepreneurs that just haven't quite been able to connect with larger companies and in a way spread their net, right? To find that. And so the thing is now is just learning how to really work within things. And so the first thing we're going to go over is vision. Okay. So within a startup, it is very tough to have one solid vision. We have people with all these ideas, and sometimes there's too many ideas. And how do you really connect everyone into one single focus line? And so then that way you guys can walk together and achieve small goals to ultimately reach that vision. Okay. So I played on a lot of great basketball teams and a lot of sports teams and things like that. And the one thing that we revolve around is having one common goal, which is to win a championship, right? We all have that vision set in our minds. And then we focus on that every single day. We come to practice. We clarify what steps we need to take during those days. And in my business, it's the same way. We come together, we clarify what is our goal and how do we get there? What are the small steps, the small victories, the 1% improvement that we're looking for every single day, right? And once that's very clear, each department, each employee then has that same vision and we're able to walk together, right? Every person on the team has to have a vision in mind, especially when approaching their workday, right? Those are those stand-ups that you guys have, those Kanbans, those agiles, those scrums. And that is what's going to keep you guys in line, right? The clarity that needs to happen there. We are going to achieve this by this day. This is our goal, okay? I believe in you guys to achieve this particular thing and have sincerity about it because you're only as strong as your weakest person. So if you are sincere about the vision that you have for people in your company, they have a better chance to succeed, right? You have that confidence in them. And I think that's a really big thing, especially in sports as well, is that when you're playing on a soccer field, you have people that you rely on from the goalie to the forwards to win that game together. And this is the same thing for esports. And it's a big thing. And we do count that as sports now, right? It's like, are you going to go through mid lane? Are you going to go to the right? You're going to left? You're going to jungle? What are you going to do? And I know a lot of people here are probably playing games, and those things are really big into building that team atmosphere. Okay. The second thing we're going to talk about is team development, right? Everyone must master their role. Everyone has a role in their company. You have to define those roles. You have to allow growth within those roles. And then you have to champion those people. Okay. And as we go through this, what I mean is that you don't always need a bunch of people to score, but you need a lot of support. Okay. So let's take an example. There is a basketball team in the United States called the Golden State Warriors. Okay. And you have Steph Curry, which is, they say, is the greatest shooter of all time. And then you have other players such as Draymond Green or Klay Thompson. And there's a bunch of supporting cast there. Another way to look at it is Ronaldo or Messi in soccer. They can't win that game by themselves. And so they must rely on their teammates to get things done. And a lot of us in startups forget that because we're so caught up in the work. We're so caught up in our mission and our goals that we forget to rely on the people that are right next to us, right? And so it's very important for us, especially for me, I have a tendency to do this as well, is to take on too much when I have a great team sitting next to me. And I wouldn't be where I'm at without those guys, right? Those people. And so it is very important as a leader, as a CEO, as a founder, director, whatever you are, even as a frontline employee, to understand the definition of your role. You know, what is your goal? Exactly how do I reach that? What is the vision that we're defining for your role? And how do you master it? How do you become the best at that particular thing? Okay. And as leaders, you have to allow growth because nobody's going to work very hard if they don't see a way forward. You need to have something for them to be able to say, I can grow into this position. I can evolve as a person, evolve as a colleague, and maybe even a partner one day, right? And so that growth needs to be there. And that definition of each step that you need to have there is the same thing as your company. You need to have fully defined roles. Where does your company fit, right? And with that, we also need to sit down and talk about championing. And I see this a lot in a lot of companies. For me, my background came from management consulting and corporate strategy. And so people are so scared to champion great employees, great people, right? And it's slowing down the progress of the company, not knowing that if you champion these people, they will grow, the company will grow, and you will also grow because you're able to help and manage and evolve and grow people, and thus your company grows. But everyone's so scared to lose their jobs. And it's a very understandable thing for change, to see a new person come in and be able to do something so efficiently and better than you. It's terrifying. I've been there. But it's also important to say, that person is great at this, let's give them this role. And then you find other people and you define what are they great at. And from there, you guys can then aim towards that same vision, right? And if the vision is rising and the vision is growing, you're able to grow the company together, right? Championing is such a big thing. And we cannot be afraid of our colleagues because they are there for our benefit as well. So really what you want to create is a self-directing, self-correcting, self-directing workforce, right? Because you as a leader, you can't sit there and look at every single portion of the business because you lose sight. You lose your vision on what your true goal is for the company. And a lot of CEOs have this problem, and it is a big growth issue there. But what you can do as well is to make it like sports. Try to make it fun, right? There are so many things you can do to connect with people, so many activities to build around your teammates and grow, help them grow in different ways. So then all that leads into communication, right? Really, everyone must communicate effectively. This is so important because I think now there's just so many ways to speak to each other, from the internet directly, text message, Telegram, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, you name it, it's there. WeChat, right? It's coming from every single source. Our minds are being overloaded. And so you wake up in the day and you have 100 messages, or you go through the day and you're receiving 40, 50, 60 different messages. And it's important to understand, or try to understand, what's important and what's not going to keep you. I don't know how many of you guys have done this, but I've done this. I've caught myself in a cycle of checking messages and answering messages. And all of a sudden I look up and it's dark already. I didn't accomplish a single thing. I didn't communicate effectively. And in order for us to reach that point, we have to take control of our technology, right? We have to understand and we have to reach out to that vision and say, who is important to talk to today? Can this wait? Can I move this as a priority for another day? Okay, is it clear? What channel am I using to communicate with my team? How many of you guys now talk to your own work teams, your colleagues on more than one channel? Okay, so if I talk to my partner, my business partner, Anthony, and I think I talked to him on Telegram, on WhatsApp, on Facebook, and there are times when we lose track of what we were sending to each other, the actual vision, the actual message that we wanted to get through. And so we've had to really structure down and just choose one thing, right? And choose one thing that would help us communicate effectively. And what we do is we choose Telegram for immediate messaging, and we choose emails when we send really important messages to each other so we don't lose those, and we're able to keep an archive, right? Because it is very important to track that. So those are our channels. And it's up to you guys to choose the best channel for you, right? Is it in person? Is it Instagram? Whatever it is, whatever works best for you, because no company is ever the same. And so it is important to define those things, right? And write that down and saying, if we do important things, this is what we're going to use. If we're doing social things, this is what we're going to use. And then from there, build upon that, right? Clarity. So the moment you have your channel, it becomes very clear. Then you can start communicating effectively. And then you have to look at saying, how do I build upon this? How do I become more clear with my own team? And ultimately, my customers, okay? Because those are the most important things. Just like in sports, fans are your customers. They're the ones that are there, right? The coach, the CEO, the founder, the leader, the director is there maintaining that communication to the frontline employees, okay? To the middle line employees. Whatever it is you guys have as your structure, it is important to have a very clear sight, right? And it is very clear to say who's going to make the decision, and this is how we're going to communicate that, and how do we track those successes all the way through? Because ultimately, it's going to create a stronger community for you and also for your company, right? But really, business is work, and it's not like some pickup game. You just say, okay, let's hop on Mobile Legends now. People want to get paid for what they do, right? And when you guys are communicating clearly, it almost becomes like an open book. Your employees, they know what they're going to earn. They know where to go from there. They know what forecasts look like for the company. They know what their future looks like. And I think we all would like some glimpse of what could be and what is. And so, you know, if we make business a little more like sports, where we're having a little bit of fun, we're able to communicate effectively. And that's one thing we teach our kids in our sports, is to yell, because there's so much noise, right? On a basketball court, on a soccer field, there's even in an esports arena, there's so much yelling. How do you talk to each other effectively? How do you communicate to make sure that everyone's doing that same thing? And so try your best to try and do open book, right? An open book type of business to the best of your ability, if it works within your organization. And that way you can create that hope, you can create that trust within your employees, and then you can ultimately push down turnover rates, right? And it's important because we all want to keep the people around us, especially ones that grow with us. Okay. So, like I said, no one can accomplish anything alone. It just doesn't happen. There are some people, okay? There are some people, but they're outliers. For the majority of us, we rely on somebody, whether it be an investor, mentors, colleagues, teammates, customers, ultimately customers, right? Because those are the people that keep our lights on. That's who's going to use our product. And we rely, and we can never forget about those people, okay? Nobody here is a one-person army. Some of you might be, and it may feel like it at times, but know that if you utilize the people that are around you, you are going to be able to create a lot more, and to put your ego aside to the best of your ability, right? And ego is a big thing. We all need a little bit of it, And that's why we created the things that we created, because we think that we can do it differently. We think that we can improve upon a process that already exists or doesn't exist. And at that point, once you create that idea, like I said, utilize that visualization, visualize what you want to do, aim for your goals, communicate effectively, and then create a scoreboard for your team and saying, okay, cool, we're going to enter these small goals throughout the year, and every week have a small goal and celebrate those victories, because that's what's going to keep people excited. That's what's going to keep people engaged and wanting to work with you. You have to celebrate the small victories in life and also in your company in order to make things happen, right? So champion the people that are around you. And I think that's so important. And that's something that we at Upward and Underground Academy have been doing since our inception. And then we're so excited to see everything grow, right? No one is greater than the whole. In sports is the same way. Can't win a championship in football by yourself. It's just not going to happen. You can't be goalie and score at the same time, right? So just make sure that you guys are looking out for that. But here's the difference between sports and business. Really, there can be more than one winner, just like there can be more than one loser. There is no, and that's the beautiful part about this, is that the market is so big, especially for us here in Cambodia. We forget that there's a whole world outside of Sok Khmer, and we can earn victories together, alongside each other, with each other, combining, right, to do something great. And I think that's something that we forget, because we're always competing. And it's that ego that we have to set aside and say, how can we win together? Or, there is more than one winner. There are different markets to capture. And unlike sports, which have a very strict set of rules, in esports, the rules are what is allowed in the game and the physical capabilities of that particular program. But in sports, we have referees. We have umpires, we have those kind of people to keep us in check. But in our businesses, in our lives, those rules don't always apply the same way. And we have to utilize our own set of ethics to be able to make sure that, we're growing the right way, right? And whatever the right way is depending on your particular industry, okay? And in your particular organization, right? If a team wins, the team wins. If a team loses, it's on you, right? Like that's how a lot of us feel. And that's a lot of the tone that we put for ourselves. But know that if you're losing, you've probably learned something from it. Go back and look at your communication. Go back and look at your vision. Was it the right thing to look at for that particular market? Was it the right way to communicate? Maybe that's where it fell apart. And so once you're tracking those things on a clear path, you're able to go back through and really look at your failures and exactly how, to grow from them. Because in sports, like I said, in sports, we learn how to win, but we also learn how to lose, right? How can I get better? What can I do more? I think I played Mobile Legends the other day and I was horrible. I was like 0 kills for 8 deaths and 0 assists. So by all means necessary, I was totally trash. So, but my teammates that I was playing with came by, hey, maybe next time you don't want to jump in too fast. Maybe you want to step back a little bit. Okay, I'm a total noob at this. And so I was just learning to go. And so those are certain things that we look at and say, it's the same kind of thing, right? All right. But you guys can do a lot of things, activities with your teams to try and build up that team spirit, build up morale, get to know each other better, right? See how people react to losses, see how people react to wins. And that allows you to communicate effectively with each individual teammate or colleague that you have, right? Certain things that you can do are to create a step counter, something very simple, very cheap, right? Everyone has a step counter on their smartphone. Let's say, hey, we're going to stay active. We're going to be, we're going to have walking meetings. Our goal is we're going to have 1 million steps in 3 months between everyone. Okay. And it's just a way for people to have a goal that's not always work, something outside of work that allows you to still connect with each other and saying, okay, we're really close. How many steps did you take? And at the same time, we're getting healthy, because health and wellness is a great part to keep our minds active. or you can host team sports, such as soccer like leagues or esports leagues. Just go out there and try your best and build up that team spirit, right? It's not necessarily about always going after the championship, but what is your vision there? It's for us to connect together. Or you can choose sports teams, you know, or even create a mindfulness and yoga room. If that's not your thing, if sports is not your thing, create a place for a safe getaway, a place to relax your mind. And those are very cheap. If you have a closet, or if you can do it in the middle of your office, you know, just take some time, look at it, and take a deep breath. Cool. Now let's go into what's Upward, right? So this is really what brought us here. Upward is our application that we're building. It is a group of companies and is a social media platform focused on real world improvement. That improvement comes from the health sector, education, personal development, and we'll kind of go into exactly what we do as a company and what programs we have running with us right now, and you guys can actually have access to. So our social media application is fairly similar in actually the way that it's presented. It's very familiar for purpose, but except we have a train button, right? And you're able to actually look for trainers, look for mentors, and connect through our platform, right? And so once you log in, you can utilize training methodologies and saying, you know, I want to accomplish this. And these don't have to be workouts. They can be training things. They can be classes. They can be English. They can be music, and trying to figure out, you know, what makes you you. In our platform as well, we have virtual showcase, which is conferencing centers. You can learn online for free. You can actually create content that people can actually access. You can message each other, similar things. You can create a knowledge base, write about what's important to you, and maybe make some cash along the way if you're getting really popular through, you know, different revenue sources of people watching, people reading, right? But you're ultimately teaching and trying to provide value to society, okay? And once you create this, you're able to keep it online and have some residual income for yourself as well if you made something that was really interesting. Let's say you're learning how to, in this case, working out, how to do mountain climbers. You're able to go back through and actually see exactly how it's done. And here's what's amazing about our system is that we are starting to build a way for you to actually truly read how deep, you know, are you learning, right? What's your body doing? Are you doing the exact things to actually benefit yourself, or are you learning the wrong way? And so our technology allows us to kind of take a look at it. In this case, basketball. It could be things from playing the piano. It could be things from, you know, are you needing to fix your back? Physical therapy for persons with disabilities, things like that. So are we doing the right thing? And are we not hurting ourselves in terms of physical movements and things like that? And so we're able to do this, and this is what we're building upon. I think it's going to be an amazing thing for a lot of kids, and we're able to help kids that don't have the facilities. Let's say that, you know, you were a kid that just has no access to fields. How do you learn how to kick a ball, right? How do you learn how to catch? How do you learn how to do a lot of things? And in our case, we're able to showcase it and really kind of structure your body with a smartphone, and giving a lot of people access that they wouldn't have. I believe this year we have over 6.3 billion smartphones activated. So it's almost 1-to-1 per person. And so our whole thing was accessibility, right? And so that's what we're really looking for. In terms of our next steps, we have Underground Academy, which is an academy here in SparkMeet, focused on people from 5 to 18, and we're actually adding adult classes to come in and actually learn different sports from soccer, baseball, basketball, and we have a lot of coaches that are certified through Upward or through Team USA, and from here we're teaching kids all of those important factors that go into creating a wholesome person, right? At least what our definition of a wholesome person is. And you're able to have grit. You're able to take the losses with the wins. And I think a lot of kids now are very receptive to that. We're also launching recreational leagues. We're doing soft pitch leagues, something that's very new to SparkMeet. It is softball. It's very light, it's very fun. It's like baseball. And you're able to connect. It's very low impact. And so it's a lot of fun as well. And we're going to be able to do it across the city, and you can connect and engage people from other cultures, right? Our next part is actually our other counterparts from Launch Education. They were doing amazing work in Africa. I believe they're on the call right now. And one of the cool things is that they were able to provide values by creating packages so that people can have access to education outside of their circumstance. And that's an amazing thing. So for a lot of us, I think when we grew up, I didn't know if I was going to go to college. It took someone to see something in me to say, hey, maybe you have more to offer. And it changed the trajectory of my entire life. And I hope that Launch Education, when we launch this in the next month, is the same for a lot of my kids as well. Okay. And right now, we're also doing a lot with underserved communities in the persons with disabilities. And so what we're doing is creating a platform, which is Upward itself, for them to come on and log on and actually learn things, connect with other people that are learning those similar things, sharing their struggles. How can they improve upon those struggles? And so they become successes. And that's what we're looking at, is reducing the stigma of coming from an underserved community, reducing the stigma of a person with disabilities, right? And so that's our next step. And we've been so blessed to be here in SparkMeet and around the world. And I'm so happy to be here with you guys. And so we'll open up to questions, I guess.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. So now we'll go to the Q&A session. So I'll start first, and in the meantime, we can the participants can take the opportunity to think about questions that they can ask as well. So I'll start off with a personal question. So, like, what sports do you enjoy playing?
Me, I enjoy playing all sports, just learning how to interact with people. I learned so much from everyone else. Like, I'm horrible at soccer. I can barely kick the ball, right? When I play volleyball, I enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoy playing all sports. My main sport that I play is basketball. That's what I grew up with, and that's what we started Underground Academy, and that's what I'm certified in. So I enjoy it a lot, but I'm willing to try out anything, you know, even from badminton or, you know, YSI. It's kind of hard, actually.
Okay, next one. So how much progress and achievements have Upward made so far? Can you share some of the achievements?
Yeah, Upward as a platform hasn't been launched yet. And so for us right now, we're just past our wireframes, and right now we're building out our backend systems and our security. So making sure that all that data that comes in is secure. That's really it. But all the other programs that are evolving around are meant to bring users into Upward itself. And so with that, we have launched at 6 months of camps. We've had over 200 campers come in from SparkMeet. I believe on our launch education side, there's been over 35 scholarship offers to around the world, top tier universities. We have started implementing food programs to kids in underserved communities to make sure that they're at that level of health, right? And what we saw there was in those programs, from 78% malnourished to underweight to only 28% underweight in less than 2 months. And so we're able to utilize all these things that we're learning and the information that we're building to actually build around those. And we're launching the softball leagues and things like that. Right now, it's about creating the community around that. And eventually, as Upward launches, it becomes the platform for everyone to access and to apply for those programs. And so it's been a lot of progress. It's been a lot of work. We've been at it for about 1 year and 3 months now. But we are now Form C certified by the Securities and Exchange Commission in the United States. We're registered in several countries. And so right now we're building up those platforms to make sure that we grow appropriately, not from the bottom up like this, but you know, we have a base, we have a strong base behind us and under us.
Okay, so my last question, and then we can move on to questions from the participants. So when do you think that we users can sign up for Upwork and start using Upwork?
Our time frame and our vision is going to be Q3 of 2023.
Okay, thanks. So any questions from the participants?
And you can ask them to mine too. So.
Yes, បងថរិតបងអាចសូមអញ្ជើញសួរសំណួរ
បាទខ្ញុំសូមនិយាយទៅខ្មែរមកអរគុណច្រើនបង Michael ហើយខ្ញុំចាប់អារម្មណ៍ពាក់ព័ន្ធ comparison របស់និយាយថា startup ហើយនឹង sport ទីមួយខុសគ្នាទៅដូចគ្នាប៉ុណ្ណឹងចឹង take away ខ្ញុំឃើញមាន3ចំណុចតែពី entity ហ្នឹងគាត់ share in common ទី1 team ទី2 goal ទី3គឺ stamina មានន័យថា energy that drive គាត់ that move team ហ្នឹងពី starting point ទៅដល់ end goal ដែលពួកគាត់ envision ហ្នឹងចឹងអាហ្នឹងក៏ជាការ take away ហើយមួយទៀតដែរជា suggestion នេះខ្ញុំគិតថាបើបង add release app ហ្នឹង add early បន្តិចបានជាលក្ខណៈជា first preview អីព្រោះដោយសារតែឆ្នាំក្រោយយើងកម្ពុជានឹងខ្លាយទៅជាម្ចាស់ផ្ទះអាស៊ានអញ្ចឹងវាជា big regional event ដែរ sport event ដែរអញ្ចឹងបើ app នឹងអាចឡើងនៅក្នុង time frame មុនហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹងទៅប្រហែលជាវាអាចជាទីមួយដែលវា compromise ជួយគ្នាទៅវិញទៅមកដែរអញ្ចឹងបងអរគុណច្រើនបង
Yeah, I would love to release it earlier, but there are a lot of regulation changes because the app is not just for SparkMeet, but it is for several different countries and different regions. And so we have to make sure that we are also following the rules for the EU, information laws for the United States. And so the one thing is to launch appropriately. We will launch a web app fairly soon. And so when that happens, we'll definitely reach out to you and give it a go and see how you like it. And in the meantime, like I said, we're really just acquiring enough content to be able to have people learn, So that's great. Yes, I would love to launch as fast as possible, but we are just making sure that we are following all the regulations and all of our safety protocols.
Ba tao mình là app xây mình sủng nổ đã được đấy ai xong vô cả càng đi xua sủng nổ Okay, so if there's no more question, I think we reached a good time to move on to the final agenda and also to end the Facebook Live. So thank you to the viewers and hope to see you next week.